Whew, that was something. Hello, folks. It's your main man, Rick the Dawn, and you are in the perfect place if you missed Wednesday's episode because this is one of the only places that will do a recap live and also talk with the amazing people who love the game just like I do. So, yes, that's what we'll be doing. I'll be recapping the episode and talking with some friends about an amazing game. And before we do that, thank you to the amazing people who have been supporting my channel up until this point with likes, subscriptions. I see you because there's nothing else to see when your channel is this small. I can't help but see you. I see you. All right. So thank you so much to those amazing people. This episode is brought to you by Wordy, which is my social media website. It is also brought to you by brokenheartshirts.com, which is where I make these kind of shirts. So check those out. All right, folks, here we go. What would you do if you won the game of Big Brother? And with that being said, what would you do if you won $750,000? That is the theme of this episode. And it was grabbed right from the game itself. That was a question that was asked at some point in the game. So if you want to know my answer to that question, please go over to wordy.com because my word or my message is one of the first things you'll see when you go there. That is what I would do with my $750,000. What would you do if you won $750,000 in the game of Big Brother? What's up? What's up? Is that my main man Tim? What's up, Tim? What's up, buddy? Tim over here. Hey, I want to give a shout out to my main man Tim. He also has a t-shirt company. I've been checking it out, Tim, and I saw the cap you made. I think it said PB on it, and that was pretty dope. I didn't even know that's how hats were made, so that was like I actually sat and watched that. So shout out to my main man Tim. He makes some amazing clothing. Check out his YouTube page. Trust me, it's a good one. All right, here we go, folks. We played around enough. Let's get to the recap. And if anybody has anything they want to say, just throw it in the chat, and now I'll read it and see what's up. All right, so the show begins with the cast looking at Alyssa and Brittany's photos. So as you know, once Brittany and Alyssa are put on the block, they kind of, this is one of the weirdest. It's one of the first times I've ever seen the cast being so happy about being on the block. So they go over to their pictures and they're like dissecting it. Like Alyssa says that her eyes are actually green in the photo, and they're just looking at it, and it's kind of weird. Anyway, Taylor has Turner in her crosshairs. It's around about this time where they kind of skip to Taylor's diary room confessions, and she points out that she is gunning for Turner. No one's really surprised though. But it still was interesting to hear. She's really, really gunning for Turner as she sees him as a huge threat. Next, Brittany throws shade at Turner, says he can't hold water. Brittany admits to playing a sloppy game. So at some point, they go to Brittany's diary room confessions, and she also points out the fact that she doesn't trust Turner and that he pretty much runs his mouth all around the house, which was pretty surprising to hear Brittany say that because can you blame anybody? Because I think she's referring to the fact when she told Turner that I think it was Turner, if I'm not mistaken, that she had plans to do some things with Michael. It was Turner, in fact, that she had plans to make a final two with Turner, and which pretty much crossed Michael out. And I think she referred back to that situation when she said this, like he can't hold water. But what Brittany is not mentioning is that she also went to Michael and spilled the beans about what Turner had planned. So it was just funny to hear Brittany say that, considering that we've all been watching her game. I guess she, I think when they're in the house, they have no idea what's going on outside of the house in terms of what the narratives are and how people feel. Because if she knew better, she would know that we all have seen Brittany just spiral out of control when it comes to this game. All right. My main man Tim says, thank you, brother. Oh, yeah. Embroidery keeps me busy. Absolutely. Check out my main man Tim's work. I'm not kidding. It's really good. All right. Monty confides in Taylor about Brittany. So at some point, Brittany does have some conversations with Monty. And Monty, doing what he normally does, he pretty much takes the information that he gains and goes directly to somebody else. We saw that when he got some information from Taylor, he went straight to Paloma. And this game hasn't changed that much. All right. So same thing, different day, long story short. But in this case, he's going to Taylor and pretty much letting her know that Monty and Taylor plot against Turner. Oh, yeah, that's what happens. Monty confides in Taylor about Brittany. And basically, he's pretty much throwing Brittany under the bus in terms of her sketchy gameplay and how she's kind of doing her little sneaky thing now that Mike was out the game. And also, Monty and Taylor have a moment in which they talk about Turner, and Taylor once again is gunning for Turner in a way that is very aggressive. And for a minute, I was buying the fact that Monty was on board with what Taylor was talking about, especially when you consider that the live feeds have been buzzing and blowing up with this new showman's alert. They did. I was surprised about it. They did not show anything about the showman's starting to heat up when it comes to Taylor and Monty. There was nothing to show that in the edited version of the show, but it's buzzing on the live feeds. But I think we start to see the beginnings of that showman's in this episode. Perhaps by Sunday they'll probably reveal it to the world via the edited version of the show. But even so, Monty hears Taylor's pitch. He even agrees to a lot of the things that she says, but he does not fully, he doesn't fully buy into this particular idea. See, Monty understands that if Turner leaves, he's the biggest threat in the game, and it will be Monty versus three women, that being Alyssa, Taylor, and Brittany. So he already knows that he can't get rid of Turner. And this was something that I didn't understand when it came to the game of Monty. I'm like, why are you keeping Turner? I felt like everything that Brittany said in this episode basically came from me a week ago. All right. But it wasn't until I start to figure things out, like, okay, Monty, that makes sense. If you get rid of Turner, then you got a problem on your hands. Okay, you'll be the number one threat. But anyway, he doesn't buy everything that Taylor is selling. All right, Monty lies to Turner about Taylor's target. So at some point, Monty and Turner reconvene, and he's pretty much just kind of letting him know that what his plans are for the most part. And Turner starts to ask questions, and I think he even asks about Taylor. Like, hey, what did you and Taylor talk about? And Monty plays it off, and he lies to Turner, which means their brotherhood or their workmanship within this game itself is not 100%, what we might expect it to be. It's more or less like a deal for now until things get a little hectic. All right, but anyway, he pretty much diverges and misdirects Turner about what Taylor's agenda is. I think he even tells Turner that Taylor is targeting Brittany. All right, my main man Tim says Taylor has got to go since they didn't put up Turner. Oh man, that's what you think, Tim? You think Taylor's going to go? Because that's the big question. Taylor or Alyssa, who goes home, and why do you feel that individual will go home? I got some things I would say about that, but I'll hold it until my next episode. I want to keep this one more about my recap, but that question is going to be posed. It's going to be asked. All right, Monty asks, what would you do if you won $750,000, which is the theme of this episode? What would you do if you won $750,000? I thought this was an interesting question, which is why I dedicated this episode to that question, because that's a life-changing amount of money. Okay, have you ever had anything similar to that? It's a life-changing amount of money. And I thought it was a little strange that Monty asked that question. Now, I didn't understand how this worked. I felt like maybe production asked them to talk about this or something. And the reason I feel that way is because first, Monty asks the question, but he's in the room with Taylor and Turner, and Brittany and Alyssa are like downstairs. But then they cut to Brittany and Alyssa, and they're talking about the same thing. So just kind of confused by that. Like, are two groups of people really having this discussion? And may I just point out the obvious? This was a terrible question, all right? Because when you're asking about the money, it makes other people like realize that you're thinking about the money. And that's what I thought about that question. I was just like, I don't know if I would have asked that question or answered it, because by doing so, you kind of cue people in on what you're thinking and how you see yourself winning the game. And just to kind of give you some quick synopsis about what these people said they would do with the money. Brittany breaks down over a potential baby. As you know, when she came into the game, she talked about really wanting a child and not being able to bear a child. So when she talks about her $750,000 dreams with Alyssa, she points out the fact that she really wants to use some of that money to conceive. And she also points out that to do so at minimum cost about $40,000. All right. So, and I have to talk about this because it made me wonder, like, hey, do you really want to bring Brittany to the final two? I know she is a perceived, or a perceived, what, how do you say it? A perceived floater, but that story by itself could change anybody's mind in a blink of a second. If I'm sitting in the jury and Brittany, and then someone asks, hey, what are you going to do with the money? How do you feel, or whatever? If Brittany brings up the story about the baby situation, let me tell you something. It's going to be very, very difficult for me to give that money to somebody else, say a Turner, even, who is going to basically use the money to build a coffee shop. So let's look at these real quick so we can really digest these. So Brittany talks about using that money to help with the child. Monty says he wants to help his brother, who is, I believe, he says he's in the military. I'm not sure. But anyway, I think his brother has some aspirations with regards to real estate, and he want to use some of the money there. Taylor says that she wants to get her life back. Apparently, she lives with her mother. I don't know what's going on with Taylor's situation, but she says she wants to give her mother a break. Okay, I'm paraphrasing. It's something to that effect. Alyssa says something, and I felt so bad for missing it. I just hope it wasn't anything really, really like tear jerking, because I completely like glossed over it somehow. So if you know what Alyssa said, let me know. I forgot what she said she would do with the money. Turner says he wants to open a coffee shop. So my point is, if you go back to Brittany, Brittany is what she wants to use the money to have a baby. All right. And if you look at Brittany, she's like one of the sweetest people ever. You can just picture her being the most amazing mother. Are you kidding me? All right. But then you compare that story with Amante, who wants to get in, help someone with real estate, or Taylor, who wants to get her life back, which could be anything. You could see a picture of Taylor in a month from now, or a month after the game on a beach. I mean, is that what you meant? Or Turner opening up a coffee shop, or whatever Alyssa said. I don't know if any of those stories hold water to Brittany's baby dreams. And that's what I mean by saying that. And you know what? You can forget the whole floater thing. If she makes it to the finals, there's no floater talk at that point, because Brittany already shows that she's a little delusional about her gameplay. So I don't think that's going to stick. I don't think you're going to be able to say, Brittany, you floated here. I just don't think she's going to buy into that. And you would know that if you watch this episode and you watched Brittany's delusion of grandeur. Like, she just had like this, she made moves this episode, which made you believe, like, hey, did she forget that the whole season passed her by with Michael over her? Like, did she not? She missed it. She missed that. Okay. So my point is, she's not going to buy the floater talk. She's going to talk over the floater talk. And when that baby story comes out, that's like the finishing move. If you don't have a good story, and I'm talking about Monty, Taylor, Turner, if you don't got a good story, you bring Brittany to the finals, that pitch right there could very well sway the jury. All right, I'm over here with my main man, Tim. Tim says, all right, I'll keep that too. All right, yep, for sure. Yep. And let me see. All right, so this is something that happens in the game. The veto starts extremely early. We finally get to figure out what in the world happened to Monty, because I heard about this veto competition a long time before today, and I heard that he was sleeping. And I'm like, how do you sleep during a veto competition of this magnitude? You know that either you or Turner have to win. There's not even a question. You have to win this competition. Now, I know that if somebody out there who thinks this game is rigged, absolutely just salivating right now, because they're like, there's no way that this is even, I'll bit my tongue. There's no way that this is even possible. How does Monty fall asleep, or how does he not get ready in time? In fact, this is how it goes. If you didn't watch the episode, that's why I'm doing this, by the way, for those who didn't watch it. So if you didn't watch it, it's like 5 in the morning. I heard 5 in the morning. I think I saw, I don't know what time it was. Just let me just say that. But I heard 5 o'clock in the morning once the veto competition is announced. And this is weird. This was a special themed veto where you had this announcer voice come on in the house, and the announcer voice is giving them a time limit to come outside. I was like, but why though? I didn't get that. I'm like, so they give everyone a time to get outside. I think it's 5 minutes. Who knows? I wasn't paying attention to that part. But then Monty gets up and he says the most insane thing in his diary room confessions. He says, "Hey, big brother." He has the biggest smile on his face, as if he's not concerned about anything at all. He has the biggest smile on his face, as if he doesn't realize he doesn't play in the veto the HOH next week. And he says, "Hey, big brother, I gotta do my routine. I gotta put my contacts in and brush my teeth," or something he said. And I'm like, Monty, are you? You can't be. You are serious. Okay, he's serious, y'all. So he doesn't make it downstairs in time, and the veto competition starts without him. Okay, and I just thought that was absolutely crazy. The house guests were giving a time limit to come downstairs. Monty had to finish his what is it called? His routine, and he misses the competition. Terrible. You know what? If I'm against Monty in the finals, especially if I'm Turner, that comes up. Like this guy doesn't even want to win the game. His contacts and his routine is more important than his game. I was the first one in line. That's the first thing I'm using if I'm Brittany or Turner. All right, you can't make that up. But anyway, the competition starts, and it is a clock themed competition where you have to align some clock mechanisms in order to allow the cuckoo that's inside the clock to come out. And this competition was a doozy. This is one of the competitions that when I watched it, I said to myself, yeah, I would probably tank this one. Okay. And Alyssa and Taylor do exactly that. They struggle mightily with this competition. They don't do well at all. All right. My main man Tim says time limit was crazy. First I've ever seen. Yes, this is the first time I've ever seen that as well. So Tim also can confirm, and I know Tim is a big fan of the show. Look, this is one of the first times I've ever seen a timed competition. And like I said, if you're someone who, like a conspiracy nut, who thinks that this game is rigged, this certainly is not helping or providing any favors, because it's like, I got a lot of questions here. Okay, I'm one of those individuals who do not believe the game is rigged. But if I were, these pieces of evidence is what I would present. Monty is the HOH. You would think he would be one of the first people to wake up to hear the information. Monty had a routine. You're convincing me that he did not know that the competition was timed. It seemed like everyone knew that. So you mean to tell me that Monty, understanding the weight of this veto competition, did not rush downstairs? You're serious, right? Okay. That's insane to me. Okay, so that stuff happens. All right. Sharon says, do you think Taylor will stay in the game? Sharon, you're trying to get me to reveal some things that I'm not willing to reveal yet. So Sharon is a great friend of mine on this channel. We talk, she joins me for these as well. And I'm not going to speak on it yet. I'll just say it that way. But I'm getting there. Anyway, the competition is between Turner and Brittany. Once Taylor and Alyssa just pretty much bomb out, you pretty much get the sense that this is going to be between Turner and Brittany. And, you couldn't be, well, I should say, I couldn't have been more surprised, considering that Brittany has been someone who's pretty much hovered around the bottom when it comes to this game, and especially competitions. And I got the sense that she was kind of channeling her inner Michael. And it also made me wonder, even if Monty had played in this competition, how much would he have changed the results? Because I don't know Monty to be a person who wins these types of competitions. Let's remember, the competition that he won was like sliding a drink down the table. I mean, outside of that competition, he hasn't really been in contention with these competitions. Unless I'm missing something, let me know. I don't recall him winning more than maybe 2 or 3 competitions. I know he won some vetoes, if I'm not mistaken. But anyway, Brittany wins, and you won't believe what she screams out after she wins. She screams out, this is for Michael, all right? She screams out Michael's name upon winning the veto, which was insane. And some house guests called that into question, and they said, I think it was Turner who said, I can't believe Brittany said that, considering all the things that Michael has said to Brittany upon leaving the house. And when I heard Turner say that, I said, well, Turner, I think Brittany respects the fact that Michael fought for his life, and she didn't really take those things to heart after, reflecting on what Michael was doing. So that's what my opinion was about that. Brittany says that she feels that she's proven to everyone not to mess with her. She thinks Michael's competition juice has rubbed off on her. This was a funny part of the episode, because winning the competition just really pumps up Brittany. And this is what I told you earlier. I said that Brittany really showed as if she she had a renewed energy. And I said that she's a little delusional about her game. And she says this win proves to everyone not to mess with me. And I was like, okay. I get what I'm picking up what you laying down, Brittany. I'm picking it up, but I think I'm gonna drop it after I pick it up, because yes, while you have won this veto competition, let's not kid ourselves here. You haven't won much beyond that. So, but that being said, congratulations to Brittany. I don't want to hate on her, because she's come a long way. Turner confides in Alyssa about Taylor and Brittany's likely plan. So this was kind of surprising to me, because after the veto competition, Turner looks a little, out of it in terms of knowing he doesn't really have many options from this point now that Brittany is coming off the block. And at this particular point, he doesn't really know Monty's plan, so he confides in Alyssa about what he's thinking. I just thought this was a weird move because Turner is spilling his heart out to Alyssa, who's on the block. And if Brittany takes herself down, in which Monty were to replace Brittany with Turner, Alyssa would have a lot of inside information about how Turner was feeling. Or even if she got to the final two, she could bring up some things that Turner was saying at this particular point. Just saying, hey, I think that Taylor and Brittany are blah blah blah. So if Taylor was in the jury and it was Turner and Brittany in the finals, Brittany could say, well, remember when you said this about Taylor? Like, I just thought that maybe Turner. I'm thinking about Alyssa. I'm tripping. If Alyssa and Turner were in the finals, Alyssa could say, like, remember when you were talking about Taylor and Brittany possibly voting you out? So I thought that Turner was giving Alyssa some ammunition that he didn't necessarily have to give her. And I think he was just talking out of being afraid. All right, but he's talking about the fact that he understands and knows that, look, Taylor and Brittany are gunning for him no matter what. All right, anyway, next one is Taylor fears going up on the block. So at some point, they do cue in Taylor, and she's discussing her fears of going on the block. She feels as if Monty really, cares about her gameplay, they're really friends, that she wouldn't see the block. All right, this is one of the narratives that she starts to play around with. But she's certainly afraid. She realizes that this will be her 5th time on the block, and she is not happy about it. All right. Brittany and Taylor conspire against Turner. This is a reoccurring theme. As you can see, they start to discuss ways in which they can start, influencing Monty. And this is a very pivotal point in this episode because once Taylor and Brittany conjure up their ideas and plans in which to sway Monty's decision, things pretty much go in a really weird direction. Okay. Monty and Brittany talk about replacement nominees. Brittany admits that if Turner stays, Monty would be her new target. So she realizes that there's not much of an option for Monty. The only options for Monty is to replace Brittany with either Turner or Taylor. And she says something that's a little strange. She says if Monty does not replace her with Turner, that Monty would become her new target. As in saying, hey, I would know where your allegiances lie, and as a result, I would come after you. Again, another moment of delusion of grandeur, in my opinion. Like, Brittany hasn't won enough I don't think Brittany has won enough to strike the fear in anybody's psyche. This right now, I just don't see it, especially if we're talking about HOH wins. But this is something that she says, and you just kind of roll with it. Whatever, Brittany, go ahead. You always say kind of weird things, right? But anyway, she does say that, and this is where things get a little crazy. So if you didn't see this episode, it gets a little crazy here. So Brittany corners Monty and gives him an ultimatum. And she kind of threatens Monty in a really, really subtle way. Like, hey, if you don't go with Taylor and I, then you'll be a threat. We'll come and get you. And if basically what Brittany is saying, if you don't get rid of Turner this week, next week I'm going to win HOH and I'm going to take you out, Monty. That's what Brittany is basically telling Monty. All right, that's what's really going on. And Monty does the unthinkable. I thought that would have swayed him just a pinch, but it turns out it did the exact opposite. It actually angered Monty in a way that was a little surprising. And he used some type of what do you call it? He referred her move, or I should say, he likened her move to a Godfather's movie, and as if Brittany was Don Corleone, and basically saying, "Hey, if you slip and fall on my knife, then it's not my." Basically, she threatened them in a very subtle manner, like, "Hey, if you don't do this, then this could happen." She wasn't inadvertently saying, "If you don't follow us, we're going to vote you out." She didn't say it that way. She just kind of like, "Hey, so if you don't do this, that's going to tell us that you're not with us." And if you're not with us, then, that'd be surprising. Like, she's being nice about it, but Monty already figures it out. Like, hey, Brittany just threatened me, and if I don't go along with them, things are going to go haywire. So Monty, in his diary room confession, is like, wait a minute. You don't scare me, Brittany. I'm a player in this game too. I'm also in the final 5. I'm also a threat in this game. In fact, Brittany, this is what Monty might have said, might have been thinking. In fact, Brittany, I'm a stronger player than you in this game. So there's no way I'm going to allow you to threaten me. That's kind of what Monty comes across as saying. But anyway, Monty tells Turner that he's not going up on the block. Listen, I try my best to give every player the benefit of the doubt. but I cannot understand this one aspect about Monty's game. If somebody understands it, let me know. I cannot understand why Monty assures people that they won't go on the block so early. At least it feels early. He did the same thing during double eviction. And when Alyssa and him had a conversation, he tells Alyssa, "Look, Alyssa, don't worry, you're not going on the block. It'll be Michael." I'm like, dude, come on. Like, Alyssa is not in your alliance, so why are you giving her this assurance? But anyway, he tells Turner he's not going on the block, which I get it. I understand they're friends, they're in the house. I just wish he would be a little less water lipped. Okay, the man can't hold water. Every time somebody tells him something, every time he knows something, it just appears to me that he spills the beans a little preemptively. Okay, I don't know if I'm telling. I mean, okay, fine. I'll tell Turner like, hey, I'm thinking about. That's just the way I would play the game. But he tells Turner he's absolutely safe, and the reason why I don't like this move is because Turner is you heard Brittany say it. He can't hold water. So if you're telling Turner something of that magnitude, he can go tell Alyssa, and Alyssa could tell, or Turner could tell Taylor. So by giving Turner information of that magnitude, you're saying he's safe, which means without question Taylor is going on the block. I just thought that information was a little, maybe keep it to yourself a little longer. But what do I know? I'm just a watcher. He's in the game. All right, my man Tim says Taylor has a great backstory throughout the game to win. If they don't take her out this week, might not have the wins, but the survival story will win the game for her. Again, y'all keep trying to make me. I'm not gonna spill my beans here. I'm gonna show everybody how to play Big Brother. You're gonna have people like laying down the breadcrumbs. Don't spill your. I really want to talk about who's gonna go home, but I'm gonna save it. I'm gonna show some discipline. I'm gonna save it to my next episode where I'm gonna lay into the conversation. But I'm not gonna do it right now. And it's getting more and more difficult because they keep trying to get me to go. They keep trying to get me to do it. Monty knows if Turner goes, he's next. So Monty points out the fact that if he actually were to go along with Brittany and Taylor's plan, he would be next. And this was something that I did not really consider. I thought, just like Brittany, like, hey, Monty, you think you want to take out Turner? But Monty understands if he takes out Turner, he's going next because he can't play in the HOH. And what Brittany and Taylor are proposing is that, hey, just trust us, Monty. If you do what we tell you to do, we'll get Alyssa out next. But Monty is a little smarter than I am when it comes to his game, because I was prepared to, send Turner out. That's what I would have done. But Monty sees the game a little bit better than I do, being in the game. He realizes if he does that, he's cookie crisp, okay? Yeah, maybe Taylor would save him, maybe, but Brittany has shown the capacity to target big players. And if she would target Turner, then what would make Monty believe she wouldn't target him as well? That's one thing I don't think Brittany was really, considering when talking to Monty. Anyway, Monty says Brittany isn't trustworthy and doesn't trust anything that she says. I bit my tongue again. Kind of goes back to what I said. So Brittany has kind of shown her hand a little bit when she was making deals behind Michael's back. And then, just being someone who talks a lot, like I said, when she will reveal some things to Pooch, and her game is really bad. Her game is really sloppy. I should say her strategic game. She just doesn't have a good one. What she did with Pooch told me that a long time ago. When she told Pooch some information that someone else told her, I was just like, yeah. So this is she's not very strategic. So what that has done though over time is that it has caused people to question anything that she says, and I don't think they're buying into it. In fact, Monty even says it explicitly, saying that she isn't trustworthy, which I thought was a little harsh, but it just is what it is. I mean, who is trustworthy in this game right now? Monty confides in Taylor about Brittany's ultimatum. Now, this was interesting. I won't say bad or good. I'll just say interesting, because Monty has a conversation with Taylor. And again, this all has to take place before the screenshots I saw of them in the bed. Okay, they were in the bed and they seemed like they were having a really, really deep conversation about relations. Okay, I think his arm was around her. So all this had to happen preemptively or before some of the later information that I've been seeing has come out. But anyway, he tells Taylor, like, hey, I just want to give you a heads up. You will be going, or you'll probably be going on the block. And he also cues Taylor in on some of Brittany's moves and discussions. Again, Monty just cannot call me crazy. Call me crazy. That's fine. Don't call me crazy. But if I'm the only one who doesn't I don't understand why Monty tells what other people says at the clip that he does. Sure, there will be some occasions where you have to kind of do some cross discussions, but it just seems like everything someone tells Monty, he tells somebody else. And I know people love Monty. I like him. I think he's cool, but I just don't like this part of his game. So anyway, he tells Taylor, who happens just to be BFFs with Brittany at the moment. He tells Taylor, of all people, that Brittany's pitch was horrendous. Okay, as if Taylor would never, whether consciously or subconsciously, kind of verbalize what Monty felt as a result of talking to Brittany. He just tells her that the conversation they go is planned and that he doesn't like it. I just thought it was a bad move, but that's just my opinion. All right, Sharon says, "Do you think Alyssa would go?" Oh my gosh, y'all are really trying me tonight. I'm not speaking on it. After I'm done with this one, I will do another episode. Sharon, I know what you're trying to do. I'm not going to break my seal. I'm not going to talk about who goes home. I don't think I am. All right, anyway, Taylor corners Monty and says, "If you trust me, you put up Turner." Now, this was a very, very intense moment, Alabama Tuck again, where Monty and Taylor have a heart-to-heart in which Monty says, "Hey, trust me on this one. I think I know what I'm doing." And Taylor does a great job at flipping the question and says, "Hey, well, if you trust me, then you would put Turner up and trust me to vote out Alyssa." Because what Taylor is afraid of, and we've seen Taylor do this before, where she puts her own game in front of group logic. Okay. When the leftovers were trying to get out somebody, I think they wanted her to go up as a pawn. And Taylor pretty much broke down crying because she's like, "I don't want to go on the block." And I'm like, "Taylor, you got the whole house pulling for you." This was at the beginning of the leftovers. I think it was against Daniel, possibly. Don't quote me on that. But in this case, again, she's thinking about her own game, rightfully so, and more so than the group dynamic. And she's saying, "Hey, we'll vote Turner. We'll vote for Turner to stay, but I don't want to be the one on the block for that to happen." For Alyssa to go home. And there you have it, and that was a good flip. I thought that was a good flip. But eventually Monty does put Taylor on the block, and that's what happens. She's on the block. And Brittany is upset at Monty's move. She goes in on Monty. She had some words for her for Monty during her what do they call it? Diary room confession, and this was towards the end of the episode, or actually at the end of the episode. It seems like Big Brother is doing that this season, where at the end of the episode, they give out some really nail-biting information via individuals' diary room confessions. So Brittany is just livid, and she's wondering and questioning Monty's, game move. And she even points out the fact that now she understands where his allegiances lie. And I was like, "Yeah, Brittany, you're right. That's exactly what you just saw. Monty has prioritized Turner over Brittany. But what I don't think Brittany is considering is the fact that Monty's a little more intelligent than that. He knows that if Turner goes, there's no way Brittany is going to forego a all-women's alliance. And since day one, that was a priority for the ladies. There's no way Monty thinks that if it's Monty, Alyssa, Taylor, and Brittany in the house, that they're going to forego this amazing accomplishment and getting a final three with all women. They're not going to forego that opportunity to save Monty. Okay, and what Taylor doesn't understand is when she says, "Well, Monty, don't you trust me?" Well, Monty may trust you, Taylor, but the problem is he has two other variables that he may not be able to trust, that being Brittany and Alyssa. So, I just thought this was a very manipulative play on Taylor's part. And like I said, rightfully so. I think all this stuff is legal. It's all good right now. You're in the bottom five, so yeah, everything is fair at this point. Okay, even a Michael word twist, okay, is fair. A Michael Kyle word twist is fair at this point in the game in the top five. All right, but anyway, Turner ponders voting Taylor out. This is where I'm glad that's my last point, because this is the best segue into my next episode, because Turner says something I just did not see him saying. I didn't see this as a possible quote from Turner. Turner says, and I told you, this is something I've noticed in Big Brother this season. Maybe it's been happening for years, but it seems like this season, when the episode is going off, when they're going like slow-mo and they're closing the veto box or whatever they got out, they seem to drop some bombs in that last maybe 1 minute of the show. And Turner says that he would consider keeping Alyssa and voting Taylor out, which would do one of two things. It would either force a tie if Brittany voted to eliminate Alyssa, or Taylor would go home if somehow he was able to convince Brittany to keep Alyssa, or if Brittany just made a mistake or some kind of judgment call and voted to keep Alyssa. So, for all intents and purposes, Turner is just like, hey, I'm going to roll the dice here. Either Alyssa stays because Monty keeps her, and when he has to decide, or Alyssa stays because Brittany throws a vote on Taylor. Like, he doesn't care. He just like, I don't want Taylor in the finals. I think Turner also sees some of her, her he sees how dangerous she is, and rightfully so. I'll talk about that more in the next episode. But yeah, he sees something that maybe we all may be seeing, that Taylor's story arc is incredible. It's going to be very, very hard to beat that in a finals. And I'm looking at Monty the whole episode like, Monty, I know that you're starting to get the heart eyes. I know Taylor's a very beautiful woman. I get all of that. But man, you are not going to win next to her. All right. And I would say the same thing for Alyssa. Alyssa has an interesting dynamic. Her story is not good. Let's get that out the way. However, she just happens to have three people who I am pretty sure would lay a vote on or for Alyssa. Okay. That being Kyle, Indy, and Jasmine. I think those three people would vote for Alyssa just about over anyone. Okay. Over anyone, especially Taylor. Right. So, listen, that's a big situation to consider. All right. And I'm thinking the same about Turner. Like, hey, Turner, I know you want to vote. I know you want to get Taylor out because of the Taylor Monty dynamic, but you're not doing yourself any favors by keeping Alyssa. I don't know. This is people have really down talked this final five, but I am willing to say that this final five is deceptively good. Okay, look, Brittany, she has a wonderful reason to use this money. That is going to be her superpower, her big move. When she gets to the final two, when she brings that out, that is her home run swing. Okay, when that baby information comes out, listen, that's enough to change anybody's heart, even your enemy. I don't like Brittany at all in terms of this game. I like her as a person, but in terms of this game, I don't like her at all. But when she says that, I was like, oh, so that's why you're playing? I didn't know that. Oh, okay. Maybe Brittany should win. So that changed me in just a second. Okay, and that's going to happen on the jury, especially when you consider that Michael is a super fan. Michael's going to vote for Brittany. And then when I look at Monty has had a very, very subtle good game. All right, very average across the board, but that's not a bad thing in this game. Sometimes doing too much, i.e., Michael, can get you put out the game. Taylor has an amazing story arc. Oh, see, you know what? I'm getting into my next episode, but Taylor has an amazing story arc. Turner is Big Brother. He looks like a Big Brother player. He plays like a Big Brother player. He looks like every cool Big Brother player that's ever played the game. You don't think he's going to get some votes? Who's the other player? I think it's Alyssa. I might be missing. I always forget Alyssa somehow, some way. But Alyssa has the friends in the jury, and without question, that is going to be very difficult to overlook. And my point is this: once you get to the final two, you can talk all the floater business all you want to, but I don't know if that's going to hold water with Alyssa when you consider that she has some friends there. And people are going to, and it really depends on how Alyssa spends it. Alyssa has struck me as a very, like, how do I say this nicely? She struck me as someone who is very lighthearted, doesn't really take the game too seriously, right? And if she comes into the final two with that demeanor and attitude, she's going to get absolutely destroyed. However, if she can flip it a little bit and just say, hey, I was laying low, that was my strategy. It worked, didn't it? I mean, I outlasted this person, outlasted that person. I was a part of this move. If she can throw a little bit of that in there, that razzle dazzle, I think that she can certainly be a factor, but who knows? But anyway, that's the recap. I'm going to do another episode in which I discuss, and this is going to be a very interesting discussion because I'll be honest, if you want my answer, I am still on the fences about what happens tomorrow. I am so glad that evictions are live. I am like everything I know about the game has been spoiled to this point. And I'm okay with it because I do recaps and I kind of want to know a little bit what's happening before I have to do these type of videos. But I am so glad that no one really knows who's going home. And I'm going to be honest with you. I have no idea who's going to go home. Maybe if you've been watching the live feeds, you have a better insight on the game. But I'm going to tell you right now, I have no certain 100% solid idea. So I don't know. But I'll tell you this. in my next episode, we will discuss who is going to go home tomorrow, and let's see if we can figure it out before the world does. All right, tomorrow at 9. But anyway, thank you all for watching, and I'll see you in maybe 10 to 15 minutes. Peace.